Welcome back to No Sleep Teal here on Reier on YouTube. Travis Reier back with you on a Sunday following the Jacksonville Jaguars 26-13 preseason opening win over the dynastic Chiefs of Kansas City, Missouri. A lot to get into as we look back upon Saturday night's game at Everbank Stadium. Some really encouraging signs. Now, does that mean it's time to go ahead and map out the parade route from, say, the stadium down West Adams and headed back towards Main Street? No, I'm not going to go that far, but I'm also not going to tell you, if you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, you shouldn't be excited. You shouldn't be at least encouraged by what you saw Saturday night. It's okay to be encouraged. I know a lot of people out there, they like to poo-poo the preseason. I get it. It means nothing in terms of wins and losses. But absolutely, when you talk about an evolving football team still in its formative stages, there were some nice things to take from Saturday night. And we'll get into some of those. And what we're going to do is incorporate some video highlights courtesy of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll do that right now. We'll pull those up. And as we do so, I want to remind you, if you haven't subscribed to our channel here, we would certainly appreciate you doing that. Also, if you'd give us a like, a thumbs up, turn on those notifications, hit that notification bell. You'll get all of our content right here on Reier on YouTube as it drops. So let's go to the highlights as we get things going here. It's about a 5-minute package that we'll work through. And as we see right here, the Kansas City Chiefs set to kick off after a field goal drive. If you were a little bit late to the game, you missed Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce because it was all of one possession. And the Chiefs did manage to go down and get 3 points. The Jaguars eventually getting off of the field on defense. Some interesting things defensively before we get into this sequence. You didn't have Darnell Savage at that slot corner. You didn't have, obviously, Eric Armstead. Jag still playing without Andrew Wingard at the safety position, and also Tyson Campbell, the outstanding young corner, didn't go on Saturday night. So you had guys like Buster Brown at corner. You had Christian Braswell involved earlier as a sub-package defender. Up front, we saw Roy Robertson-Harris. We saw Devon Hamilton. So otherwise, about what you would expect from this defense. Antonio Johnson getting the start at safety opposite Andre Cisco. So we'll go to this kickoff here as the Chiefs put it in the air here. It's the new dynamic kickoff rule in effect. And right here, look at Parker Washington. And something that's been interesting to watch out at camp practices is the personnel that the Jags have incorporated to this new return approach. And also conversely, when you're covering these kickoffs. But in return mode here, pretty cool. You'll see Tyler Lacy, the second-year defensive lineman. He's up in about right here at this point. He throws a nice little hip check here. It's a great play by Parker Washington. He sees this seam down here at about the 30. Now watch Tyler Lacy coming up here in just a little bit. This thing's got a Lacy stays with the play, and then watch him. He's at about the 30 right here. Watch this little hip check, right? Nice. See how he gets across so he doesn't get hit with the block in the back? That's pretty damned impressive for a big man on a kickoff return team. Helps wall that off, and Parker Washington getting a lead block from Tank Bigsby, Ventrell Miller down the field, Caleb Johnson. Excellent stuff from Parker Washington, and exactly what you want to see for this offense early on. Short field. Trevor, off of some bootleg action prior to what we're about to see, was able to hit Luke Farrell in the flat. The Chiefs on early downs, hypersensitive to the run game. Jags took advantage of that on the boot action and the easy toss to Farrell. And then you get into this situation right here where you clear things out with Gabe Davis. And Gabe Davis is going to run that off. And now you've got a tough situation for an inside linebacker. He's already lost leverage. And Travis Etienne going to run that little angle route right there, and that's easy money. He's going to score on that every time. So you want to talk about curing some of the red zone woes from a year ago? Getting Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby involved in the passing game in the red zone against some of these inside linebackers can help you do just that. And it's a 7-3 lead for the Jags with 9:40 left in the first period. Mahomes out of the game. Here comes Carson Wentz. And what you got here, it looks like it is 12 personnel, one back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You got a couple of tight ends on the field, and then you got a two wide receiver look to the top. You run it. Wentz on the give. Really good stuff here, boy. Roy Robertson-Harris. Look at how he reestablished the line of scrimmage right here at about the 38, 39-yard line. And that's going to be a tackle for loss. Good stuff by the big man, setting a strong edge there on an early down. Yeah, go ahead and celebrate that one a little bit. So you get into a 2nd and 12. And now watch Roy Robertson-Harris again in the pass rush. Look at that long arm up there. Little bit close to hands in the face, but you got other guys coming too. And this looks like pretty much a 5-man pressure that Ryan Nielsen is getting after Carson Wentz with. Here you see it early. There is Trayvon Walker, or actually that was Roy Robertson-Harris. Trayvon misses, but Abdullah does not, cleans it up for a sack there of Carson Wentz. So again, an aggressive front. This isn't a two-gap front that you're going to see under Ryan Nielsen. These guys are going to pretty much, I think, be unleashed to be disruptive and get up the field and try to make plays. And the Jags, with that aggression early on, it pays off. Trevor and the offense back out there on a 1st and 10 from a condensed formation. And this is where it puts some stress on defenses too, because see Etienne kind of circling out of the backfield there. You have to account for him. Trevor's ultimately going to come back down here on a beauty of a dig route from Gabe Davis. This is an elite throw. On time, accurate, zip. There you go. Gabe Davis with a chunk play there early on in his first preseason game as a Jacksonville Jaguar. The possession wouldn't produce anything. You had a 4th down stop for the Chiefs, and really a situation where probably Trevor should have got rid of the football one way or the other. It's a 4th down, but based on the field position, you're almost okay with him eating it and taking a sack there. If anything, throw the football away, save some of the field position. Don't take an outright sack, but at the same time, you know you've been preaching no turnovers or limit turnovers to Trevor. And so even in 4th down mode, it kind of played out that way in this one. So the Chiefs back on offense. Here's Wentz. He's looking to his left. And I'll tell you what, Terrell Edmunds a couple of times from the safety position in this game brought the thunder right here. That's a perfect form tackle by Terrell Edmunds. And ball looked like it came loose there. Edmunds with a big hit. He'll have another one coming up in just a little bit. And so the Jags are now back on offense. And that's CJ Beathard in there. Didn't quite get to the second quarter. A couple of possessions for Trevor at the quarterback position. You knew going into this that it would be CJ Beathard's ball in the second quarter, or maybe a little bit more. That's the case here. Offensive line, you're going to have some changes there as well, and really open the game with some different guys in some different spots, because Ezra Cleveland wasn't able to go at the one guard. You didn't have Anton Harrison. So Blake Hance at guard, Walker Little at tackle opposite Cam Robinson. But this is CJ Beathard out there to open this drive. Looks like 11 personnel here with the tight end into the hash mark. It's Bigsby back there, I believe, deep with CJ. And you take the snap here. CJ looking to work the outside. And this is what every Jaguar fan loves to see. Brian Thomas Jr. down the field. And even better, look at the reaction. Tyson Campbell, Christian Kirk, Trevor, other guys, Evan Ingram. You got Cam Robinson, Mitch Morse out here, Mac Jones waiting his turn at the quarterback position. You love to see that type of response from your guys, not just because you're pulling for the rookie, but you understand big picture wise what this guy's emergence on the outside could mean for this offense as a whole. And as we talked about right here on No Sleep Teal throughout the offseason, if you can do this once or twice a game and hit them, that will do a lot of great things, not only for your other receivers like Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk, but also your run game. And so Thomas makes a heck of a grab here for an explosive play. And so now into the Chiefs territory. Here's Tank Bigsby right here. You pull Hance from the guard position right here. He gets home. Fortner now in at center stumbles a little bit. He's trying to pull out. You're wanting to run it right into here. Chiefs had the numbers pretty well accounted for, but this is where your back is really, really good in Tank Bigsby. Watch this cut right here. He sees it. Fortner still kind of gets there, but it's not going to be enough. As you see, the awaiting safety coming up in support right there at the 40. So Tank cuts it back towards the hash mark. Now watch Brenton Strange right here. I like that he stays in the play and finishes, helps Tank Bigsby. Bigsby's going to run through a lot of this contact, but this right here, watch Strange. He kind of helps and finishes on his guy. And now Bigsby's going to go get another 10, 12 yards. Very impressive early on. Tank, very decisive, very much with authority running the football, and also in the return game too, as we'll see a little bit coming up here in just a little bit. So a 10-10 game, you move forward to the latter stages of the second quarter. CJ here, he gets pressure right up into his face. And look, you've got the Chiefs bringing 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a 5-man pressure. You don't have this free runner accounted for. You're going to drop the back into here and see how you're running all this off. Strange running it off down the middle of the field. Your outside guys pushing it. This is almost like a one-man screen is how it plays out. And it's also where a veteran quarterback gets the job done. With this kind of early pressure, younger quarterbacks might panic and look to bail or just really go fetal and take the sack, but not CJ Beathard. Watch this. Gets the hit, but then gets the ball out to D'Ernest Johnson, and it's a lot of green grass out in front of number 2 there as he finishes it off for a Jaguars first down. Really good stuff from CJ Beathard there to get the ball hot to where it needs to go. Here come the Chiefs once again showing pressure. And a little bit earlier in the quarter, actually, you had Parker Washington in a similar formation. It's Devin Duvernay up there now in that slot. Run a sort of slot fade against this sub-package defender or safety for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Beathard and Washington weren't able to hit it, but Beathard goes right back to it because he sees he's pretty much got man coverage with this safety sitting in here and these guys showing downhill. He'll take the snap, and here the Chiefs come. I mean, that's about as much of a dog blitz as you'll get in the preseason. That's 7 guys coming. So you're not going to account for everyone. CJ already knows where he's going with the football, takes the late hit or the personal foul there, gets it up into a place where now Duvernay can go make a play, and that's what Devin does, and it is a Jaguar touchdown. The ultimate cardinal sin for a defense in that situation is to give up 6 with about 33 seconds to go, and then the Jaguars pour a little bit of salt into the wound right here and go for 2. This is a little bit of a statement play, in my opinion. Not so much to the Chiefs, but for Doug Peterson to his own football team. Look, we get a 2-point opportunity, we're going to run the football between the tackles, even if it is our second group. And that's what you see right here. Going to give it to D'Ernest Johnson, who you don't think about as a banger, but he just kind of gets up into the scrum, takes on the early pressure there from the edge. Didn't quite get that guy accounted for, but he's into the end zone anyway. It's a 2-point conversion, and it's an 18-10 Jacksonville Jaguar lead. Now, one of the most bizarre plays that we'll see at any point of the season, and this is, I think, what the Jags were trying to get Cam Little to do with some of the other kickoffs, but Cam, I think, was so juiced, he was inadvertently putting the ball into the end zone, and so the Chiefs were getting it out at the 30. This time, not so much, but you see the ball kind of check up there at the 1, and Mecole Hardman kind of panics, goes into the end zone, gathers it, and it's going to end up being, you see the white hat up there signaling touchback, but it's going to go as a safety upon review. Very bizarre situation. I think it is something that could be the subject of an Oliver Stone movie at some point. I mean, for a preseason game and for a review process to take as long as it did, but at the end of the day, the officials, the TV, the replay officials got it right. So that's all you can really ask for. So now we've been talking about kickoffs, right? All off season with the changes. Hadn't really talked about how it could be impactful on a kickoff for a safety, but here we are, and there's the kick. That's going to go to Tank Bigsby, and you'll see Tank all that room to kind of get a running start. And then he sees it again that he's got a little bit of a seam up here to the left. And boy, he absolutely hits it. Some good stuff, too, as far as blocking goes. See, you get that walled off right there. Who is that? Is that Daniel Thomas? No, that's Jarian Jones, 22, that did a nice job, helped provide a little bit of a crease for Tank Bigsby. And he's out over the 45-yard line late in the second quarter. So a 10-point run on a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. And then you had the safety to go on top of it. And the Jags are up 10 at the break, come out in the third quarter now, really getting into the reserves. But I thought, even from a depth perspective, you saw some very encouraging things that we talked about so far during training camp about the depth up front. Otamiwo is going to show that here in just a little bit, number 90. Breland Speaks, that's been a late addition here in the last week, actually got in on the fun some too. Right here, you see it. Just collapse the pocket and get home on the quarterback. That's Otamiwo and some pals getting the job done right there. So now it's Mac Jones time, and kind of knew going into this, Mac was going to play the entire second half. Kind of raised a few eyebrows that CJ Beathard was out there first behind Trevor Lawrence, but I think there could be some underlying things in play here too, as far as the pecking order as we go through these preseason games. I'll say this too about Mac, and Mac played well. All three of the quarterbacks played great. I mean, you look at the combined stat line for Lawrence, Beathard, and Mac. You take that just about any preseason week at any time. But here's Mac behind center, working from under center. This is 11 personnel with one back and one tight end. You got Jalen Jackson, the undrafted rookie free agent that we have raved about here on the No Sleep Teal program for quite some time. Fortner in there at center. You got Cooper Hodges now at right guard. Van Lanen at a tackle position. Mac going to take the snap here, going to toss it to Jalen Jackson. And this is nice because you pull Fortner from the center position right there. You pull Van Lanen. This is what they refer to as pin and pull. See these down blocks right here? You're pinning inside and then you're pulling with these offensive linemen. So you've got Van Lanen from the tackle position out here first. Boy, corner doesn't like to see that, does he? An offensive tackle getting downhill. And now here comes Fortner. Watch what he's able to do. Soften it up even more. And Jackson's got a free run for 12, 15 yards before he has to even consider the sideline. So whereas I'm a huge Jalen Jackson fan, give a lot of credit to not only the pullers there, but the pin down guys that help make that run possible. 1st and 10 now for the Jags from their own 29-yard line. More 11 personnel. Mac under center, and he loves this hard play action fake because this is a lot of the stuff that he ran at Alabama. Hard play action to a guy like Najee Harris, and then you work the middle of the field to, back in those days, Devontae Smith or maybe John Mechie. And Mac's on time and on target to Austin Trammell. Trammell does a nice job of finishing the play. Really good all the way around. Mac selling the fake. Pass protection, what you need it to be. Nice route from Trammell, and it's another explosive play for this Jaguar offense. 23-10 game now for the Jags, and we're moving ahead to the start of the fourth quarter, or the early stages of the fourth quarter. Ian Book time for the Chiefs, the former Notre Dame quarterback, going to try to step up here and make something happen, but gives up on things a little bit early, kind of runs into a sack right here. There's Otamiwo again, Speaks. So it's a good sequence for the Jaguar defense, even if Book probably bailed a little bit early on the situation. Chiefs football now down inside the Jaguar 40 at about the 37. Looks like 11 personnel. Book in the shotgun. This is going to be kind of a 4.5 man pressure. I think this is Muse right here that kind of showed pressure, but then he was checking the back or checking the flat, I believe. Yeah, you can see right here. I think he's checking this guy. Book's going to get rid of it hot. And again, watch Terrell Edmunds peel back here quick. See Terrell Edmunds come into the screen right here? Bam. Right on the football. Looked like Jiffy Pop back in the day. Popcorn being popped with the way that ball came out. Edmunds for the second time in the game with a big hit from the safety position. I don't know how it's all going to work out ultimately in terms of who stays, who doesn't stay. But again, as I've said here recently, I think the Jags are going to have to make some tough decisions on some defensive backs that not only can help them in the secondary, but also when you think about special teams as well. The Chiefs now down inside the red zone, 4-man pass rush for the Jags here. Book looking to his right. There he goes. Kind of a one read and run guy, Ian Book. And he does it again, and he's going to run right into Tyler Lacy. So nice job by the big man. But again, it's helped by the coverage being what you need it to be early, because if you can get Book off his first guy, he's going to probably run into a sack. Mac Jones dropping back here midway through the fourth quarter. Jags at about the 46 of Jacksonville, and Mac going to really deliver a nice ball right here. Not a lot of separation right here, but Mac is anticipating and seeing that he's kind of got this guy bracketed. He should have an opportunity to work it up the sideline. He did some nice stuff with DeGuara. Missed DeGuara in the end zone on one throw, but look at this ball. That's a great throw, and that's an excellent catch by a tight end, knowing that he's going to take the hit from the safety over the top. And that's another position where not sure you're going to see a fourth tight end. You know, if it is Evan Ingram, if it is Luke, if it is Brenton Strange, maybe not a fourth tight end, but DeGuara's had a nice camp. He really has. The Jags obviously have had a couple injuries there, so that's just furthered his opportunities. I think even before those injuries, he was ahead of Murtaugh and also Peterson. So he's putting some good stuff on tape. So whether it's with the Jags as an active guy, maybe a practice squad guy, or somewhere else around the league, I think he helped himself in some form or fashion on Saturday night. 55 seconds left in the game now. Ian Book at the Jaguars 39. And again, the early pressure is going to get home. There he is, the big man, John Marshall, another one of those guys, really didn't sign with the Jags until a week into camp. And he gets home on the quarterback. So again, multiple guys getting the job done in pass rush and on defense in general. Encouraging signs from this football team as a whole. Cam Little, probably haven't talked about him enough. He missed a 62-yarder on Saturday night that had the distance, plenty of distance, just pulled it a little bit to the left with some of that helping breeze behind him. Made a couple of kicks. He had a 47-yarder, probably have been good from 77 going towards the south end of the stadium. So again, not time to get ring sizes just yet, but also it's okay. It's okay if you're encouraged by what you saw. I know Doug in the post game tried to downplay the importance of a positive outcome, especially on the heels of the finish to last season. And I understand the sort of message he's trying to send to his team that, look, yes, we were good tonight, but at the end of the day, it's just a preseason game. But it was big on multiple fronts in terms of evaluating your personnel. Some guys got some great tape out there, help themselves again, whether it's with Jacksonville or another team. I think you're going to see some Jaguar cuts that land on other rosters if they don't go the practice squad route, or maybe they're taken from the practice squad of the Jaguars. The quarterbacks, all three, did some really good things, pretty much took care of the football. Parker Washington was electric. I'd like to see Parker. I'd like to feel better about ball security where he is concerned. But otherwise, just not a lot to pick at. Penalties were kept to a minimum. You've got veteran quarterbacks, so administering that offense shouldn't have been a problem. It was not. You had Press Taylor down on the sideline with Doug Peterson. That was an interesting dynamic on Saturday night. You've got a veteran offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, and Mike McCoy. So you should feel good about however you want to go about that. Ultimately, we saw guys on both sides of the ball and special teams put in position where it looked more like they could just play. And at the end of the day, this is a talented enough roster. If you're able to do that on a consistent basis, you're probably going to like the results that you get. And obviously, staying healthy is priority number one in a situation like that. So you like to see this team come through it from that standpoint in a very, very good place. Thank you once again for joining us here on No Sleep Teal. Got a big week coming up in Duval. You got the joint practice with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs going to play the Jags on Saturday night at Everbank Stadium. That one should be a lot of fun. So plenty to keep up with, and we're going to be right there to track all of it with you. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on those notifications. You'll get all of our content as it drops. And we'd appreciate a thumbs up right here on No Sleep Till if you don't mind. I'm Travis. Thank you. And until next time, so long, everybody.